Hello, statistics scholars. This is our second lecture for Chapter 8, an introduction to hypothesis testing. In this video, we will focus more specifically on the 4 steps to hypothesis testing. So let's go back to step 1, state hypotheses. Hypothesis testing is based on 2 types of hypotheses, the null and the alternative hypotheses. The null hypothesis is a statement of status quo in the population, a statement that there is no difference, no change, no effect, or no relationship. The null hypothesis always contains a statement of equality. It is a statement that the population parameter takes a particular value. The null hypothesis is always assumed to be true until evidence indicates otherwise. Back to our example for preschool children, the null hypothesis in words is preschool children in the U.S. watch an average of 3 hours of TV per week. This null hypothesis in symbols is as follows. H naught or 0, semicolon, mu equal to 3 hours. The alternative hypothesis is a statement that in the population there is a difference, a change, an effect, or a relationship. It directly contradicts the null hypothesis by stating that the actual value of a population parameter is less than, greater than, or not equal to the value stated in the null hypothesis. Notice that the alternative hypothesis contains a statement of inequality. The alternative hypothesis is usually a statement we are trying to find evidence for or a claim the researcher believes to be true. Back to our example for preschool children, the alternative hypothesis in words is preschool children in the U.S. do not watch an average of 3 hours of TV per week. This alternative hypothesis in symbol is H1 colon mu not equal to 3 hours. There are 3 ways to set up the null and alternative hypotheses based on directionality. In a two-tailed hypothesis test, or non-directional hypothesis, the researcher does not predict the direction of an effect or difference, more than or less than. Typically, the question will be, is there an effect, or is there a difference? This signifies a non-directional hypothesis. The null hypothesis will always be stated as H naught semicolon mu equal to some value. And the alternative hypothesis will always be stated as H1 mu not equal to some value. In a one-tailed hypothesis test or directional hypothesis, the researcher specifically predicts the direction of an effect or difference, more than or less than, or an increase or decrease. There are 2 ways to set up directional hypotheses. So let's start with right-tailed hypothesis tests. Typically the question will be, is there more than or is there an increase? The null hypothesis will always be stated as H naught or H0 colon mu less than or equal to some value. And the alternative hypothesis will always be stated as H1 colon mu greater than some value. So this is a right-tailed test. Oops. A right-tailed test. Notice how both of these hypotheses include the full range of values that could occur. Also notice that the direction of the inequality sign in the alternative hypothesis points to the right for a right-tailed test. See, it points to the right. Now for left-tail hypothesis tests, typically the question will be, is there less than or is there a decrease? The null hypothesis will always be stated as H naught mu greater than or equal to some value. Let's separate these out. There we go. And the alternative hypothesis will always be stated as H1 mu less than some value. Right? And these are left-tailed test. Okay? Notice again how both of these hypotheses include the full range of values that could occur. Also notice that the direction of the inequality sign in the alternative hypothesis points to the left for a left-tailed, right? It's pointing to the left for a left-tailed test. In our next video, we will discuss how to set a criteria or significance level, and we will talk about effect size and decision errors.